so much better at technology. I don't have to bumble my way through quite as much, but everybody's so used to me starting us live, talking about how I'm trying to start us live. But now, wow, now we are live on both Facebook and Instagram. So yay us, and excited here. And I know people will be trickling in, so I'll probably repeat my greetings a couple times. But I'm
Okay.
very excited to be on with the amazing Courtney Walsh. This is going to be so much fun. And Cinco de Mayo, I mean, oh boy, it's always fun to celebrate with all that fun Mexican food and Tex-Mex stuff. And looking forward to that. So I'm just going to spread this out right now as you ring in. I don't see anybody yet, but that doesn't mean a thing because we sort of all straggle in here when it's party time.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
once I see a name showing up, I'll feel, oh, this is good because it's just 5 o'clock right now. It's 5 o'clock somewhere, and I have my fancy little mango juice drink here in my cool little glass. So
I should have done a cold drink. All I have is my water.
You know what? Water is a good thing. We like water.
Yeah.
And the gang is starting to come in. Okay, everybody, you know the drill. Let Courtney know where you're coming from. We've got New Jersey here, Arizona, Wisconsin. Hi, Nancy. Hi, Nicole. Hi, Diane. And I see we've got some of our Instagram peeps joining us too. So hi, you guys. Thanks for joining us today and helping us kick off, or maybe you've already kicked it off, Cinco de Mayo. And I have to laugh. Amanda's here from Massachusetts. And Nancy says it's 7 there. Okay, well, it's 5
Here
o'clock
too.
here. That means it's time for a party. I got to show you guys what I bought. So my local grocery store, they had these ginormous, look at this, avocados on sale. I'm so excited. And these huge size of Texas bags of corn chips. There were 2 for the price of 1. So of course I'm not buying. And Gerhard and I are never going to work our way through that bag. And actually, we're down here out the coast, and we've got company that will be joining us in another week or so. And so I'm saving that for them. But I am going to have my avocado tonight. So yes. Anyway, hi, Gail is here. Debbie is here from Zephyr Hills, Florida. So thank you, everybody. And I see Lady Music Books is on from Instagram, and Jen O'Brien is on. We're glad you could join us today. I know a lot of you do know who Courtney Walsh is, but some of you might not, and you are in for a treat. She's just such a classy lady, and she's multi-talented, and I'm really looking forward to chatting with her and finding out about the many things that she does. And Tanya, you're not late. It's only 5:02. You're just right on time. 5:02 is on time. So
yes.
Anyway, and this for those who are not able to join us live, this will still be playing after we're done, and so you can come back and take a peek at it. More of our Insta gang is joining us. Hi, you guys. I'm so glad you could be with us tonight to have a chance to talk with Courtney. And I first discovered Courtney when I was reading her book, The Summer of Yes. I don't know if has anybody read that book or heard of that book. If you have, you can just shout your hand out and go, yes, I have. Hi, Susie. Thanks for coming. It's just, I love that book. I love that book so much. And so now I'm a Courtney Walsh addict. And this is what I'm reading right now. Can you all see that? The Happy Life of Isadora Bentley. I'm about to start that. And I'm really looking forward to it. What I like, Courtney, about your writing is it's positive. It's just happy. They're happy books. They're encouraging books. And they're what we all these days call closed door and low spice. And that's really good because I always feel like a peeping Tom. It's like, I can't read this. And so it's really nice to have a book where you're going to get the fun story and everything, but I don't have to worry if, my granddaughter happens to want to borrow it. We're good to go.
Yeah.
So I think that's really cool that you're writing the low spice. Hi, Barbara from North Carolina. Hey, Kathy Baker says she's read it. All right, Kathy. And Barbara's here. Gail is here. This is nice to see so many of you joining us. So we're going to get right to it and start chatting. Oh, one more thing, though. You guys, feel free to let me know if you're having anything Mexican tonight in honor of Cinco de Mayo. And who wants a sombrero? I want a sombrero. I need a sombrero.
I don't.
If I'm going to Cinco de Mayo parties, I think I should have a sombrero. Do you have a sombrero? Do you have a sombrero, Courtney?
No, but now I want one. I feel like that would have been the best thing for us both to be having sombrero.
I know. We should have sombrero. I don't know why I didn't have sombrero. But I'm gonna get me one for next time around. Anyway, so let's find out though a little bit about Courtney here. And one of the things I think is so interesting I found out is you're a playwright and you're big into drama. And I'm wanting to know, when did you get into that? Was it before writing? Were you doing this as a child, as a teenager? What's the deal with that?
Yeah, so I started, I'm afraid I'm going to get hit with the sun, so I might end up moving. But I started doing theater when I was in grade school,
Wow.
and I don't, I think when you are in our world, it's sort of like if you're not an athlete, it's like ugh, I tried all the things and I wasn't good at anything, and then all of a sudden I found theater and just sort of fell in love with it. And so I did that all through middle school, high school, and then I actually have a degree in theater. I just studied it in
Wow.
college as well. And so now my husband and I own a performing arts studio and a youth theater. And we
Oh,
just had auditions this weekend, actually. So we do, a lot of shows. I mean, we direct shows all the time, and that's kind of our business now. And absolutely fell in love with it. And I think now we work with kids, and it's sort of like we created this space that we wish we had had when we were growing up. Like it's a place where, those creative kids can come and like express themselves in a safe environment, and it's very family friendly, and it's just a very encouraging space, and I love it. And so I kind of stepped back from it in the last few months so that I could focus on writing, and I just missed it so much. So
oh,
I definitely had to go back to it. So, yeah, I feel like I've kind of been doing it most of my life in one capacity or another. And I think the first thing that I ever had published was a short play. It was for like an anthology. And that was kind of like how I started writing. I never thought of myself as a writer. And when I was in college, there's this one break where I swear I was like the only person left in the dorm. And I wrote, like, I spent the time writing a one woman show, and I don't have it
wow.
anymore. I so wish that I did, because it's probably
Oh,
terrible. But we
oh,
didn't have like flash drives and all that stuff. So I don't have access to it anymore. But I think it just sort of ignited this like spark, to be doing more writing in that capacity. So yeah, that was kind of how it all started. It's weird how it all kind of comes full circle. And I think the way that I learned to create characters for the stage is how, like as an actor, is how I create characters in my books. So that has been really interesting to me too, to see the parallels there.
wow. I just think that is so cool. And I think that is often the case with creatives, and especially if you're a writer, it often
Mhm.
spills over into other mediums, which is just really
Yeah.
cool. And I love that too. I never got to do, this is so interesting. When I was in high school, the drama teacher and the choir director did not get along. And so it was like we
Oh,
had to make the choice. So I was in all
oh
city choir
no.
and all the small groups and stuff, but I didn't get to do drama. And I didn't get to do any drama until I was by then I was married, and we had our handicapped daughter. And I was much fun. We did the Music Man, and I got to be William McKechnie-Shin.
Oh yeah, what a fun part.
And I was
Yeah.
so much fun. I was like, oh, I was so hooked. But it was like, you have a child, you have a husband. You're probably not going to get to be the queen of the stage, but
Yeah.
that's the way it was. Anyway, we had a couple of questions that came in. By the way, who just said that? Kim, I think it was. Yeah, said her book club just read The Summer of Yes and loved it. So yay.
Oh,
That's
good.
very
Thank
cool.
you.
Very cool. And Nancy would like to know where you live. What state are you in?
I live in Illinois. I'm in northern Illinois, like almost to Wisconsin.
Wow.
So
Okay.
very, very high. Like I think I'm 25-ish minutes from the Wisconsin border. So
Wow.
yeah.
Okay. That's
Yeah,
very
we're in
cool.
Illinois. I've always lived here. I lived in New York for one summer, and I lived in Colorado. We lived in Colorado for a couple of years, but then other than that, I've always lived in Illinois. So I
Okay.
like the cornfields. I can't explain it. It makes no sense.
Oh, well, there's something comforting actually about seeing all
Mhm.
those fields of corn, of food, you
I
know.
agree.
Oh,
Yeah.
hi from Minnesota, says Patty. By the way, I am seeing some of you actually have made your Mexican food. Um, Gail had it on Saturday. Somebody had made the whole enchilada, no pun intended, but with the deep fried beans, the whole 9 yards. So that's kind of fun that you guys are actually doing that. I meant to
Yeah.
do that tonight, and with our partying here, it's like, well, we're just going to have frozen pizza, and we'll pretend it's Mexico or Mexican pizza. I don't know.
Right.
Anyway, it's fun to see you all celebrating Cinco de Mayo and enjoying that wonderful cultural food. And Katrina's here now. Hi, Katrina. A lot of gang here on Instagram joining us tonight. Thank you, guys. I'm so happy you're here with us and hearing all about Courtney and a bit about her life. So now we know that this girl's a glamorous playwright. She's written a one-woman show. She has produced, obviously, you're producing plays, and I think that is so
Right.
Cool. That's just really neat. But so you've done that. Then when did the writing start? When did you get into deciding, well, okay, now I think I'll write some novels?
Well, it's weird because it was not, you know how a lot of people are like, oh, I always wanted to be a writer. That really
Yeah.
wasn't me. I think because I was so tied in with wanting to act. But what I don't know, I think it was like once I graduated college, I just sort of realized that lifestyle, like because with acting, there's not a lot of security. And so like that doesn't fit my personality. Like most of my anxiety comes from feeling that lack of security. And so I think I knew
Mm.
even then, like, oh, I don't know if this is going to work for me. Like I started thinking about like, what am I going to do? Am I going to go like hunt for jobs? Like all like that scared me a little bit. And I think I just sort of got to the point where I was like, I don't think I want to do that. Well, we had worked for a dinner theater. We had helped open a dinner theater and kind of got to see the other side of how everything worked. And so my husband, we weren't married at the time, but we had been together for a while by that point. And we were like, well, what if we just direct a show? Like let's just see what happens. And so we ended up doing that. And then we got into ministry. We worked in a church for a while. And during that time, I started to really think about like my purpose and like, what do I want to do? And it's weird because I feel like last week I finally had this like epiphany where I was like, I spent so many years trying to figure out like, what am I supposed to be doing? And I don't feel that way
Mhm.
anymore. Now it's like, I know what I need to be doing. Like I know where I'm supposed to be and I know what I'm called to be doing, but I got into it. I was writing for a scrapbooking magazine and I was doing a lot of like scrapbooking stuff. That was a very big industry at the time. And I don't even really know. I just remember thinking, I prayed about it and I really felt like, okay, I think I'm going to try writing a book. And
Wow.
I was terrified because I knew that it's not the kind of thing where you write a book and then you just like are done. Like you have to read it and edit it and proofread it and all the things. And so I just started like really diligently studying the craft of writing and, just wrote a really terrible manuscript, which I probably do still have somewhere. It's so bad.
Everybody
It's
has
like,
done that.
oh my gosh. Yeah. And it's like, it's the kind of thing where you're like, nothing interesting happened in that book or like nothing, what's the word? New or fresh or excited. Like it's all the things that are cliche. Like they're all in my first manuscript that will never see the light of day. And then from there, I just kept writing. I mean, I kept reading about writing and I kept studying the craft and I went to, writing conferences and classes and trying to learn. And I just got kind of obsessed with the idea of doing that. And so it just kind of blossomed from there. And now I'm like, I don't know. You know how like you sort of realize like you're narrating things in your head or you're like seeing people and you're making up stories about them. And it's like that was happening to me all the time, but it just I didn't have anywhere to put them. I just talked to myself.
So that's just fun.
So yeah, that's kind of how it started. And I was not a person who ever thought like as a kid, like, oh, I want to write novels someday. That really wasn't on my radar at the time. But yeah, I think I've always been a writer without realizing it. So, because I have a degree in journalism as well. And so I write, but it wasn't fiction. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I think it's a lot more
Yeah.
fun to write fiction. Sometimes writing
Oh
fiction can be
yeah.
a little depressing.
100%. Yeah. Yeah.
I had to laugh because you're talking about security. Oh, so don't feel what's good to do. I think I'll become a writer. I'm going,
I
okay,
know.
interesting. There's a real security.
Well,
one.
the rejection that comes from writing is over the computer. The rejection that comes if you're acting is like right to your face. And so it's sort of like I mean, it is really similar because you really do have to put yourself out there. Like as a writer, if you're going the traditional route, you really have to be able to just like put it out there and then not like agonize over. Like we always tell the kids, like when you audition, like go in, audition, do your very, very best, and then try to forget about it. Because if you agonize over it and like get anxious about it or whatever, it's just going to ruin so much of your time. And I think I that's a very hypocritical thing for me to teach because I have not learned how to do that. It's just, you panic a lot. And so, yeah.
But you talked about rejection right to your face, as in when you're auditioning. I mean, because you've probably never been in a play where people didn't like clap and laugh.
Oh yeah. Like to get the jobs. I mean, like as an actor, I mean, to put yourself out there, like imagine that, like going out on auditions like all the time, just I don't think I'm built for it.
I think that would be hard, putting yourself
It
out
would be
there
hard.
all the time
Mhm.
and not knowing if you're going to get it. And you're right, at least if you get rejected, as a writer, it sort of comes, well, these days in email or the mail.
Right.
And then you kind of go, well, what do they know? And then you move on and hope you can convince somebody that you're fabulous. By the way, guys, I'm saying hi to all of you who've kind of come in a little bit on the late side, and we're still glad to have you here. And for those of you, thank you for a couple of you who's asked how I'm feeling. And well, just keep praying, you guys, because I'm still a big old deaf mess in one ear, and I'm certainly hoping that that's not going to become permanent, that my ears are going to unplug at some point. But this is yucky. I've never quite had anything like this where I've been
Oh,
so plugged up that I can't hear for such a long time. So
that's
obviously
hard.
it's not stopping me from talking. My mouth is still working. That will be
That's
the
good.
last thing to go on me. Oh my gosh. But anyway, thanks for asking, you guys. So I appreciate that. Let's see. Meredith says that she discovered you a year or so ago, and you are an auto buy for her now. How cool is that?
Oh, thank you.
And she just finished the Cupid Chronicles last night. How fun is
Oh,
that?
that is fun. Thank you so much.
That is very cool. Well, she is a lovely writer, guys. And for those of you who have not yet discovered Courtney, I absolutely know you're going to love her. Hi, Brenda's come in now from PA. So hi, you guys. Someday we're going to get every single state in the union here, but we're not quite there. We're keep trying, guys. And hi to Karen Muller, who's here. And I know I missed greeting some of you. And hi to our people who are watching us on Instagram. I hope you're enjoying hearing all about Courtney and what she's up to, and which is a lot, obviously. So I want to get back to, because that's like, I love that book, The Summer of Yes. What inspired you to do that book? Was there something that came to your mind? You thought, what if? I mean, how did you get to that book?
That was like, sort of like realizing that I live a very fearful life myself. And, it was funny because I remember I thought it was this great epiphany, and I texted my sister and I told her, I think that I like do everything. Like, I think I'm afraid of everything. I'm very fearful about things. And she goes, "You think?" Like, "Yeah, you are." Like, it's like it's common knowledge to the people that know you, but like when you sort of realize like it's stopping me from doing things because I'm afraid. And I started to think like, what would it be like to, like, those, how you have those knee-jerk reactions where you're like, oh no, I can't do that. And that happened. My sister and my niece invited my daughter and I to go to London, and I am terrified to fly over water. I've never really been as scared of flying. And then I had kids, and then I got really scared. And then I like think about flying over water. There's just something about that that freaks me out. But I was like, my knee-jerk reaction was like, I have to do, like, I need to do this. And I'm so glad that I did. We went in like 2019, I think it was, and it was so fun. And I'm like, but then, you come home and you have the small like things again, and you make yourself small because you're scared. And I wanted to like explore characters who, not just big things. I'm not talking about like bucket list. It's not like, you have to jump off a bridge and bungee jump and like skydive and whatever. But like the little things that I was saying no to, it was like a speaking engagement, or like going somewhere that's a little bit out of my comfort zone. And I'm very, very like in my comfort zone. And so I don't want to live my whole life that way. You know what I mean? So I decided that I would write about it, because I feel like some of those things are universal. I mean,
Yes.
we have a tendency to sort of like, get in our own little world. And then it's like things come our way and you just, I can't do that. I'm not that type of person that's bold enough to do that or whatever. And I thought, well, what if we just did that? Like, what if I go out to eat by myself and don't care if anyone looks at me and thinks that I'm a loser? Like it's stupid things that you tell yourself that have nothing, no one's looking at you. Nobody cares.
You're blonde, you can't be a loser. Blondes are
Oh my
losers.
So yeah, stuff like that. So I think that really came out of my own sort of feelings of like just being tired of myself, letting myself be scared so often. And I mean, that's Isadora really came out of, my husband asked me, when are you happiest? And I couldn't answer the question. And I was like, because like, I really like my work, and like at the theater stuff that we do, and like writing both, and then watching my kids do the things they love. But those didn't feel like the best, and like, those are great things to be happy about, but like, what makes you happy? Like, when are you what other things make you happy? What are you doing that makes you happy? And I just started thinking about a character that was a little, like, I so have a lean towards like pessimism. And so, just trying to fight that off. So it's funny because I think some of the things that I write, I just want to explore the things that I'm realizing about myself that I maybe want to course correct. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Those were both situations of that. So yeah.
Well, I think we all have things we are afraid of. Everybody has that little Achilles heel. By the way, some of you, I see you're still coming in a little bit late. And hi, I'm glad you could join us. Or, you can catch up on what you've missed. But meanwhile, it's lovely to have you with us. But getting back to the whole fear thing with me, I'm not sure when along the way this happened, but I remember my dad was a hypochondriac, and I'm a terrible hypochondriac. And I call it the dark side of imagination because I can just go from, I have a cuticle to I have cancer of the fingernail in like 1 second.
That's me. 100%.
And when I got my, had my uterine cancer, all my friends were like, oh no, of all people, Sheila, Sheila, a hypochondriac. And sometimes though, you realize, well, okay, did I really need to be that afraid of it? I survived this. And sometimes, like you were talking about doing, you just have to make yourself get out there. You made yourself, I said, I'm going to fly to London. I don't care if I'm afraid of water. I'm going to fly to London. And I don't know if anybody out there, like I said, we all have a little something sometime that makes us nervous. We're afraid to try. I've heard more people fear speaking than they do being heard on live. And I find a hard time with that because I love to diet. Obviously, I love to talk, but everybody has that, or maybe, you're afraid of travel, or you're afraid of, you name it. And I think it is important to conquer those fears. And Nicole saying fear is universal. It is. It just takes different forms for all of us. And, when you're not brave, you do miss out. I do have to say, guys, though, after getting this crummy ear infection, I was already, we're talking about doing this readers cruise in 2027. This part of me is like, I'll just organize it and send all of you because I don't want to. I will get past that. But right now I'm just like, I thought, oh my gosh, my borders are shrinking. And my friend Debbie Makeover talks about the golden circle. I'd never heard of that. There's a time in your life as you're a little bit older, like I am. Inside I'm still 30 and a babe, but outside I'm not. Anyway, but where you're a little bit older, you've got some money, you've got some time, you can still carry your own luggage, you've got your health. And that's what they call the golden circle for traveling. And I told somebody after this, I said, I think I've been kicked out of the golden circle. It's just like, I'm ready to just shrink my borders and hide, which is not good. We need to be bold. We need to keep getting out there and having adventures. And if you guys want to be inspired about, saying yes to things, and it's a multi-generational or 2-generation. We've got the older woman and the younger woman, and they really kind of help each other. And this is it's a charming book. I know you guys are going to love that, but all of her, somebody would like your Cupid one. And so, you can't go wrong with a Courtney book. But for those few readers out here who haven't heard of you, do you have a favorite book? What would be a good Courtney Walsh book to start with?
Well, I actually asked my readers this question because people will ask me and I'm like, I'm not really sure. But the ones that got the most votes were The Happy Life of Isadora Bentley and My Phony Valentine, which is a contemporary romance. So those are the two that got the most votes. Unless it's Christmas, then people said A Cross Country Christmas. So I think those are good, like, ones to start with. I used to write a little bit heavier books. And now in 2018, my daughter had cancer and she had thyroid cancer. And, I think when like really dark things kind of happen in your real life, some people I think really like to lean into that. Then I sort of took the opposite, where I was like, I didn't want anything negative around me. And I didn't want to write like dark, heavy, emotional type stories. And so like with tragic backstories and stuff like that. And so it really shifted a lot for me right around that time. I started to kind of think, okay, I just want to have fun. Like there's some books that I want, like, sometimes I think we take ourselves so seriously. And I think I was trying so hard, like as a writer, and I forgot that like, I could actually have fun doing this. Like, what if and it's not that my earlier books weren't fun to write, but just in a different way. I just wanted to lighten everything up a little bit and still have like depth of character, but the tone of it all just feels less weighty. And so those books kind of came really quickly after sort of realizing I I would love, one of my biggest things that I really want to do is just to try to put more joy into the world, and to try to figure out how to write stories that are uplifting and that make people feel good. And we say the same thing when we do shows. It's like, you don't know what someone is dealing with and that they need a little escape from, that they're going to crack open the pages of the book. And like, if that book can take them out of the hard, whatever the hard thing is, even just for a few minutes at a time, then that is what I really want to do. And I think a lot of people sort of think, oh, it's just like romance and that's silly and whatever and frivolous. But I think it saves you from because when things are hard, you need an escape. And so I just sort of like realized I needed an escape as a writer. And so I just sort of leaned into that around that time. And so I think that was a really long-winded answer.
No,
I could have just said the titles.
And I think
those are the two.
For us as writers, that's the one thing, because in different hard times in our life, I would just go and write because that was the one world I had control of. I was like in charge of that universe, and it was nice. I felt like I was doing something, accomplishing something, and helping out the family when I could.
That's a great way to put it. I mean, it is, because everything out there spins out of control, and even like as a reader going into it, knowing the ending is going to be happy, like even and also I'm like, I promise I'm not going to like kill off one of my main characters, or like, that kind of stuff that sometimes happens in books and makes me.
Yes, I have been known to do that. Not very many times, but sometimes that just had to happen. Barbara said, by the way, she says, I see my phony Valentine has a hockey player on the cover. I'm in. That's so cute.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Is your daughter all right now?
She is. She's now. So that happened her senior year of high school. And it was very, very difficult, a terrible time to have that happen.
Oh, yeah.
And now she teaches English, so she's doing wonderful now.
Wow.
So yeah,
that's great. Oh,
yes. Thank you for asking.
That's really good news. We love it when we do get through those dark times and come out the other end. It's like, I always figure there are always clouds, but the sun is always behind them. You just can't always see it, but it's there. So let's see.
That's a good point.
I had to absolutely ask you. Oh, yes. So your next book, I know you have another book coming out. When is that coming out? And I think, do you have some show and tell for that? What's that going to
I do. So this is, Everything's Coming Up Rosy. If you can tell, this is my love letter to the theater. You don't have to be a theater person but somebody asked me, like, why don't you ever put theater in your books? And I was like, when you do something, I don't know if you feel this way, and it's just very like normal in your life. Like, this is very normal in my life. And so I just didn't think it would be interesting necessarily. But then I started thinking about it, and I'm like, oh my goodness, like I would love to write about a character who is, she had these big dreams, because a lot of us have really big dreams. And it's like, what happens if how do you know when to change gears or shift gears? And what happens when it turns out to not be what you thought it was going to be? And so I really kind of wanted to like dive into that and just kind of put it on the backdrop of the theater. So she takes a job at a regional theater, and not realizing that it's actually in a retirement community. So she ends up spending her summer directing a production of Cinderella with a bunch of senior citizens as actors. And so that's kind of the premise. It's set in Door County, Wisconsin in the summer. So it comes out June 10th. So coming up.
Put that on your pre-order list, guys. We had a question coming from Jen O'Brien. She said, speaking of being happy on Mother's, what would be your ideal way to spend this Sunday, Mother's Day? And if gifting a Courtney Walsh book for moms, which one would you recommend?
Okay, so for moms, I think I would say Summer of Yes. I do think, or maybe Isadora, but I feel like either one of those would be a good mom gift. What would be, so then she asked what my ideal way to spend. Oh, gal. What would be my ideal way? I haven't even thought about that. I mean, I just like to be around my family. That's kind of, but I don't want to have to cook them food. That's like somebody else handle the food. And then, I mean, that's really the bottom. That's like the main thing. And then I'm happy. Like that's all I need. Yeah. And maybe some tulips, because I love tulips too.
Are you planning on getting together with family this coming Mother's Day?
I didn't even know that it was Mother's Day.
It's right around the corner. Yeah.
I had no. So we are in Maycember. Like we are having this crazy May is absolutely nuts for end of the year stuff with our business, and I have a book due at the end of this month. So I sort of feel like I was just looking at my calendar in my kitchen and I was like, it's still on April, and I'm like, I just changed that. Like, it's been crazy. And my son had surgery a couple weeks ago. And so
Oh my
it's
goodness.
it's just been such a whirlwind that I don't really have my bearings at all.
One
So
thing after another. So you might just have
yeah,
like a nice quiet Mother's Day. Maybe
I might want to
you get some
sleep. Yeah.
and then the kids bring over pizza. I mean, that always works
Yeah,
for
that
bring
works.
me pizza, pizza, pizza.
I'm easy. Yeah.
Well, and Mother's Day is coming, so guys, yeah, hopefully you're all buying books for your favorite mom, and maybe your favorite mom is you. So you have my permission to get
Buy yourself a
books.
book. Yeah.
I saw a really cute thing on social media, and I don't remember it was on Instagram or TikTok, but the lady is like, when my husband says, "What do you want to do for Mother's Day?" and there's the picture of Barnes and Noble, and she's all, "Ah, I want to go to Barnes
Yeah.
and Noble." That's a good idea for Mother's Day.
Yeah,
Take mom to
it
a
is.
bookstore, or take yourself to a bookstore, but make sure you treat yourself in some way for Mother's Day. I think that's important. And Mother's Day can be hard for those of us, then some of us have lost children, some of us have lost our moms, and it can be a little hard. So I'm hoping you guys, if that happens to be where you are, that you will do something to treat yourself, that you will adopt a mom or a daughter for the day and take somebody out for lunch, or just, like I said, take yourself out for lunch, but do something to make the day special, and maybe you're going to be buying a Courtney Walsh book. Who knows? But anyway, and Courtney is going to be giving away a book, by the way. So I will have
Yeah.
Gerhardt drawing a name here this evening, and we'll probably announce it either tonight or tomorrow. But Courtney, what's going in the hat here?
Like, what am I working on next?
What book?
Is that what you mean?
Book are you giving away?
Oh, what do you mean? Oh, yeah. I'm giving away this one.
This one.
Happy
And
Life, Isadora Bentley.
This is the one I'm reading right now, guys. So she
Yeah.
has very good taste. This one looks
Yeah.
so cute too. I can hardly wait to dig into this. It's going to be.
I really had fun. I had a lot of fun writing that one. And I don't know. I really like Isadora became a character that I just really kind of want to hug. Like, I just want to hug her. She needs a hug.
Back to being positive, right? It's so
Yeah.
important. If you had to sum yourself up as a writer, how would you do it? What would you say?
I think I'm a little obsessive. Like when I get into a story, it's really hard for me to get out of my head. So I spend a lot of time in my head, which can be like difficult, I think, because then I start to feel like the other things in my life start, not the people, but like the obligations that you have start to feel like burdens. And so I have to really kind of keep that in check a lot. But I think I'm a sort of a sparse writer. Like when it comes to description, I really like writing dialogue. And I think that's my theater background.
Mhm.
Like I can sit and just like dictate conversations. I hear them in my head. So I feel like that's kind of more my, my main focus. And then just try to write happy, joyful stories. I mean, they're going to take you on a little bit of a journey, but it's just not, I don't know. My hope is that at the end they feel like
you'll be smiling at the end of the book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
So
the
would
goal.
you say if people are looking for so I'm saying, what's a Courtney Walsh book? You would probably say positive, something happy, maybe with some
Uplifting. Yeah.
Uplifting.
And maybe, and they're like you had mentioned, there's no, steamy scenes. I definitely stay away from that, and no swearing. That's partly because of my own personal preferences, but also because I work with kids, and it's really, and a lot of those teenagers will read my books have read my books over the years. And it's important for me to be able to, that I feel like we always have taken our position in authority, or like I feel like leadership, especially for kids, they have to be I really want to be a good role model for them, and so I try to model that what I think is important for them. So yeah, I think positive, uplifting, happy books.
I think that's a good way to sum up, and the whole thing. And it's interesting. I feel like we've lost the term ladylike. Nobody wants to be ladylike anymore. We want to be cool and crass. And I would love to see that kind of come back in style, where we just, where it comes out of our mouths is a little more encouraging and a little less obnoxious, and where we remember to have manners and all those things, that people were taught only a generation ago. It would be nice to
Hmm.
see us circle back to that. And so it's nice when we can find that in a book, and you
Yeah.
want a book that you could give to your daughter and not have or give to a friend's daughter and not have your friend mad at you going, why'd you give my daughter that?
Right. Well, and it's
So,
really, it's interesting too, because I'll have moms reach out and say that they love that they can read my books with their teen daughters. And I mean, that means a lot to me because
yeah.
I think it's really hard. I had a daughter who was reading at like a high school level when she was in like third or fourth grade, and you cannot find books that are appropriate. I mean, it's incredibly difficult. And so, if you have a 15-year-old who loves romance and you start getting her YA romances, you'll find out really quickly, like, oh my gosh, maybe not all of them, obviously, but some of them, you have to be really careful. And it's not like they have a rating system like movies. So you really are going in blind. And so I really just want to I'm not writing for teenagers because I think there's plenty of adults who just really don't need, like, they just really prefer to have, a lower spice. And I think it's great that there's something for everybody, you know what I mean? But I know if people go into my books thinking they're going to be spicy, they're going to be disappointed. So I try to be really like upfront, like that's not what you're going to find in here, just so people know.
No, I think that's good. And like you said, everyone has different tastes, but it's really nice for those of us who just, who kind of want to find we want the story, we want like the fade to black, we want the romance, but we don't want all the gory details of what's going on. And so it's nice to be able to find a writer who's going to provide that. So I know readers appreciate that.
Oh, thank you.
Anyway, so let's find out, guys. I promised Courtney I wouldn't keep her on here all night, but if people go looking for you, where can they find you?
Well, I mostly am on Instagram. That's like my main favorite social media. I really realized very early on that I cannot be in all the social media. So I'm there. I'm also on Facebook, but much more rarely because I find it very difficult to get my notifications. Like they just, they're overwhelming on Facebook for some reason, and I don't know why. So on Instagram, that's my favorite place. And I'm just at Courtney Walsh there. And then I have a website that's Courtney Walsh Writes. So I have that
Courtney
there.
Walsh
And there's like a printable book list on my website and different things there. So yeah,
Great.
That's the main place.
All right, guys. Well, now you know where to find her, and I hope you'll hang out with her. And I know those of you who haven't read her yet, you're going to love her books. And Courtney, I'm so happy that you could because I know your life has been busy. You were just finishing up a play. You have really, really, really been busy. So
It's been a little crazy.
Taking the time. Let's see.
I'm glad to be here. Yeah.
Oh, one more question before I let you go. Jim would like to know, will you be doing any kind of see, I can read the whole thing. Any kind of tour to promote the new book come summer? Will you be touring?
Somebody else asked me that. We've talked about doing something here I live in Rockford, Illinois, and we talked about doing something here locally, especially because this book has a theater tie-in. I haven't got it on this. We don't have a lot of local bookstores here. We have a Barnes and Noble, but like indie bookstores, we don't really have. So it would probably be something that would be maybe in partnership with Barnes and Noble, but I just have to like get through, I just really needed to get my book written. And then I was like, now I can think about things. So there is a possibility that I'll do some of that. And then I also found out I get to go to the American Library Association in Philadelphia at the end of June. I'm going to be signing books there, which is really exciting. Cool. I'm very excited about that. Yeah.
And
I'm going on a plane.
Will that be open to the public, that signing?
I think you have to be registered to participate there. I think is what so I think it's mostly librarians, but I mean, but a lot of people that work in books. I haven't been to one in a while. So yeah, this will be kind of fun for me. The last time I went, I got to meet like some of I felt like I did my signing and then I was like a fangirl, I just got to walk around and meet people that I was like, sign my book, so
that's
it was really
fun.
Yeah, it was very fun. So
that would be
fun. To do that too.
And guys, so even if you can't see her in person, you can see all her posts on Instagram and follow her there. And Courtney, I'm so happy you took time to talk to us tonight. And
Yeah, thank you so
even though
much.
even though we don't have our sombreros, we still had a good party. So yeah, we're good. But thank you again so much. And we're going to say goodbye to our gang. First of all, to our Insta people, I thank you all for joining us live here. I'm glad you could come. And we're going to say bye to them. And then we're also going to say again to my Facebook peeps, thanks you guys so much for joining us tonight. And if you missed the earlier part of this, this will still be up for a while and you can go back and watch the rest of it. By the way, I think I mentioned before, Facebook is not holding our lives that we do. They used to keep them up there forever and they're not doing that anymore. They take them down after a while, but you can still find all my interviews with different authors up on YouTube. Go find my YouTube channel, just look for Sheila Roberts and all our interviews are there. And this one will be there too. So
Awesome.
guys, it's been great. And thank you so much for joining us and happy Cinco de Mayo. Ole.
Ole.